All right, so today we are diving deep into viral videos in 2025.
Oh, fun.
We've got a ton of great sources lined up, mostly YouTube videos from like marketing experts and the actual creators themselves.
Sounds like we'll get both the strategic advice and the on-the-ground experience then.
Exactly. So whether you're out here trying to make the next viral hit or just want to like, I don't know, understand what you're watching a little better, I think we've got you covered.
The viral landscape is always shifting, isn't it? Yeah. It's interesting to see how the actual tools and strategies keep changing, but like the core elements of what makes something catch on, they seem to stay pretty consistent.
Totally, like we're still drawn to the same things, surprise, human connection.
Oh, for sure.
Like, remember that JK wedding entrance dance video?
Classic.
That was like, what, over 15 years ago? But it
Yeah.
still holds up, It
Yeah.
wasn't some crazy production or anything, just a real moment that really connected with people.
I think that's key, right? That authenticity. We see it time and time again with viral content. It's not always about how polished something is. It's about capturing something real, something that gets a reaction out of people.
So true. So let's get into strategy, though.
All right, let's do it.
One of the experts we watched, this guy named Menace, he was talking about finding products to promote, especially on TikTok. And he had this whole concept of looking for proof of concept. Have you heard of that?
Proof of concept. Yeah, it makes sense. Instead of just picking some random product and crossing your fingers, you're looking for like evidence that it's already resonating with people.
Right. He actually said, like, one of the best indicators is if you find a TikTok account that's already selling that product and has at least 1,000 followers.
Okay, yeah, I get it. It's like a little green light saying, hey, this thing's got potential.
Exactly. Like, it's already working for someone else, so.
You're kind of letting the algorithm and the audience do some of the work for you,
Correct.
right? Identifying the products that are already gaining traction.
And he mentioned this tool, Shop Hunter. Have you ever used that?
I have not. Tell me about it.
Oh, it's pretty cool. It lets you, like, analyze sales volume and the velocity of different online shops.
So you can see how well specific products are actually selling.
Yeah. It's not just a gut feeling anymore. You can use data to make smarter choices.
I love that data-driven viral content creation.
But data aside, many said even before you do all that, there are 3 super important questions you got to ask yourself before jumping on any product bandwagon.
Okay, lay them on me.
The first one is, can you actually create content with this product that'll grab attention? Some products are just, more visually appealing or lend themselves to storytelling better than others.
It's like, does this product have that inherent viral potential, right? Can you picture it being shared, talked about, inspiring other people to make stuff with it too?
Exactly. And the second question is there actually like a genuine demand for this product? Are people already searching for it, talking about it? You don't want to be promoting something nobody wants.
True. Virality is great and all, but it's got to translate into actual interest, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point?
All right, so let's say we've got our potentially viral product and we know people want it.
Okay, now the fun part.
How do we actually make the video? How do we get people to watch it and, more importantly, share it?
The million-dollar question, right? One thing that came up again and again with the experts was the importance of the hook, that scroll-stopping hook, they called it.
It's like you literally have seconds to grab someone's attention as they're scrolling.
Seriously, seconds. Our attention spans are like, what, the size of goldfish now?
Maybe smaller, but that's why understanding the psychology of attention is so important for creators. It's not just about good content, it's about packaging it in a way that like immediately grabs you. Another creator, Takumi Shigen, talked about pattern interrupts in editing.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Like, sudden zooms, changes in camera angles, weird sound effects. He said you should have some kind of pattern interrupt every 3 to 5 seconds to keep the viewer engaged.
Huh. Never thought about it that way, but it totally makes sense. It's like you're tapping into our brain's need for like novelty and stimulation.
Yeah, we're wired to notice new information and those unexpected changes, and creators are using that to keep us hooked.
Keeps things interesting for sure.
Reminds me of those choose your own adventure books,
Right.
Always getting hit with choices and twists.
Yes. And the best viral videos do kind of feel like that. They keep you guessing what's going to happen next.
Okay, so let's dive into another key element, finding the right niche.
Right. Niche down.
Pua had some really interesting insights on this.
I love his stuff. He's always got good advice.
He was talking about using YouTube itself as a research tool.
Which Seems obvious, but a lot of people don't do it.
Right. He was like, analyze what's already working, what people are searching for, find the gaps and
I
opportunities.
like it. Work smarter, not harder.
And he talked about this thing using an aged channel.
Age chat.
Yeah, basically it's counterintuitive, but he says YouTube's algorithm tends to favor older channels, even if they haven't been posting recently.
Interesting. So even if it's been dormant for a while,
Exactly. He said it's because an older channel has history, like a track record, even if it's been sleeping for a bit.
like a brand that's already established some trust
Right.
versus some brand new account.
Exactly. And Puma thinks using this age channel advantage can seriously boost your chances of getting seen.
Makes sense. It's like, oh, this account has been around. They must know what they're doing.
All right, so we've got our niche, we've got our attention-grabbing hook. Now what about the content itself?
Yeah, what makes people actually watch the whole thing and then share it?
One thing that kept coming up was authenticity.
Like, even when you're trying to go viral.
Yeah, the experts were all about finding ways to be yourself, bring your own personality, your unique perspective into the content.
Because at the end of the day, that's what people connect with, right? That realness, that human touch.
It helps build trust, too. Like, people can spot a fake from a mile away.
Seriously.
Oh, Pua also broke down this HAC framework for scripting short-form videos. It was super helpful.
HAC. Okay, what's that stand for?
Hook, actionable advice, and call to action.
Okay. I can see how that would be useful. Walk me through it.
So you start by grabbing their attention, right? Strong hook. Then you give them something valuable, like a practical tip or a piece of information. And then you tell them exactly what you want them to do next.
It's like a little recipe for engaging content.
He actually compared his next tip to meal prepping. It's about batch filming.
Batch filming. So like planning and efficiency.
Yes. Instead of filming one video at a time, you plan out and shoot multiple videos all at once.
Okay, so you're saving time, staying consistent with your posting schedule.
Exactly. Especially when you're just starting out, momentum is key.
And that principle applies to so many things, not just video, right? Like batching emails, errands, even cooking.
It's a life hack. Okay, so we talked about niche, the hook, creating authentic content, being strategic with filming. What about the editing?
The editing where the magic happens, or at least where it's supposed to happen.
What did the experts say about editing for virality? Like, what makes a video visually appealing and keeps people watching?
A lot of them talked about using B-roll, those extra shots layered over your talking head to make things more dynamic.
It's about giving people something to look at, right? We're visual creatures.
Apparently, over 65% of people are visual learners. That's what one YouTuber said.
It's like creating that multi-sensory experience using visuals, music, sound effects, even text to keep people engaged.
Like, it's not just about watching anymore. It's about experiencing the video.
All right, let's put ourselves in the audience's shoes for a sec. You're scrolling through TikTok. What makes you stop and watch a video?
For me, it's got to have that element of surprise, or I have to feel like I relate to it somehow.
I totally get that. It's got to make you think like, wait, what? Or I've totally been there.
Yeah. Exactly. And one of the experts talked about using emotional hooks, like starting a video with something simple. This is my son, James, instantly creates that human connection.
So simple, but so powerful.
It's like we can't help but be drawn in. We're curious. We want to know more.
Okay, we've covered a lot about the nuts and bolts of making a viral video, but what happens after it goes viral?
Yeah, you've got millions of views. Then what?
Exactly. How do you make the most of that attention, especially since it can be so fleeting?
And that's where we'll pick up after a quick break. Stick around to find out what happens after you achieve viral fame.
Be right back.
So we were talking about what happens after a video goes viral. Like, how do you deal with that sudden surge in attention?
Yeah, it's almost like, okay, now what?
Right. Like, one thing to keep in mind is that virality can be kind of a fickle friend,
It's here today, gone tomorrow.
Exactly. So the question becomes, how do you capitalize on that momentum while it lasts?
How do you not let it just slip away?
It seems like it comes down to strategy and being willing to adapt. Like one creator we saw, Puma, he's constantly experimenting with things like video length,
Oh, yeah, he's big on that.
the order of his content, even re-uploading older videos to see what works best on different platforms, like YouTube Shorts.
He's all about the data, right? Always tweaking and testing.
Oh, absolutely. He's a big believer in analyzing the numbers, things like views, how much people are engaging, and audience retention.
All those little clues that tell you what's resonating.
Exactly. It's not just about getting that one viral hit. It's about learning from it and building something that lasts.
Makes sense. So you're not just a one-hit wonder.
And that means being willing to adapt and evolve, right? Because the online world is always changing. We saw that with Rebecca Black. Remember her?
How could we forget Friday was everywhere?
It was. And, well, it wasn't always positive attention, was it?
Not exactly, but what's amazing is how she used that experience to build a real music career.
It could have gone the other way so easily.
Totally, but she didn't let the negativity define her. She used it as a platform to grow and show her talent.
It's a good lesson, turn a tough situation into an opportunity.
Did the experts have any other tips on navigating that post-viral world?
One thing that came up over and over again was authenticity, even when you're trying to, replicate what's working for others.
So don't just blindly copy, find your own angle.
Exactly. Put your own spin on things, bring your own personality and perspective to the content.
Because ultimately, that's what makes you stand out, right? That unique voice.
That's what helps you build a real following, not just a bunch of random viewers.
This creator, Grow with Mimi, she talked about engaging with your audience, like in the comment section.
Oh, yeah, I've heard her talk about that. It's smart.
She's all about asking questions, using those responses to inspire future content.
Which makes people feel heard, right?
Totally. It shows you're listening, you value their input, you're willing to incorporate their ideas.
It builds that trust and connection, like it's a two-way street.
Speaking of things changing, we can't talk about viral videos in 2025 without talking about AI, right?
Oh, for sure. It's everywhere these days. AI-generated content.
It's a whole new ballgame, and it's kind of raising some big questions about creativity and who owns what.
I know. It's a lot to unpack.
This guy, Alexander de Ritter, he's actually using AI to analyze successful YouTubers like Mr. Beast.
Wow. So he's like trying to decode the secrets of going viral.
Kind of. He's using these AI tools to pull insights from Mr. Beast's videos, his interviews, even his employee handbook.
That's wild, but also kind of makes sense.
It's impressive, but also a little, I don't know, unsettling.
Yeah, like, is AI going to take over the world of viral content?
It makes you wonder.
It's definitely a possibility, but even with all this technology, I still think there's going to be a need for that human touch,
That spark of creativity, that real, authentic connection.
Exactly. That's something AI can't replicate, at least not yet.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the ethics of viral content, because there's definitely a dark side to this, right?
Oh, absolutely. The pressure to go viral can lead to some shady stuff, inauthenticity, manipulation, even spreading misinformation.
It's like anything for those views.
And we can't forget the impact on the creators themselves. There have been cases of people going viral and then facing, like, harassment threats, all sorts of negativity.
It's easy to forget that there's a real person behind the screen.
A person with feelings, with a life outside of the internet.
It's a reminder that virality is a double-edged sword, right?
For sure. Amazing opportunities, but also real risks.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? How do we navigate this world responsibly?
I think the key is awareness, responsibility, and critical thinking. Like, as a creator, ask yourself why you're making the content, what message you're sending, what impact it could have.
And as viewers, we need to be discerning, question what we see, be careful about what we believe and share.
It's about looking beyond the surface, the views, the likes, and thinking about the bigger picture.
Wow, this has been a lot. We've covered so much ground.
From hooks and algorithms to AI and ethics, it's a lot to process.
But it's fascinating, right? It's like this constantly evolving world.
It definitely keeps you on your toes.
One thing that stood out to me is that even though the tools and strategies are important, the core elements of virality, things like authenticity, connection, surprise, those seem to stay the same.
Yeah, those are timeless. They're about tapping into those basic human desires, no matter the platform or technology.
So what do you think, what's next for viral videos? What can we expect to see in the coming years?
Well, based on what we've learned, I think a few key trends are going to keep shaping the landscape.
Okay, give me your predictions.
I think the lines between entertainment, education, and advertising are going to blur even more.
We're already seeing that, right? Like you can learn to cook, fix a sink, and buy a new car all in the same video.
Exactly. And as AI gets even more advanced, we can expect even more personalized content. Like imagine your TikTok feed not only knows what you're interested in, but it's predicting what you need before you even know it.
That's incredible and also a little scary.
Right. It brings up those big questions about privacy, algorithms, manipulation.
So ethical considerations are going to be more important than ever.
Absolutely. We
Right.
got to make sure this tech is used for good, not to exploit or control people.
So more personalized content, what else? What other trends are on your radar?
I think we're going to see a rise in interactive and immersive experiences. Things like AR filters where you can try on clothes virtually, or 360-degree videos that put you right in the action.
It's like taking the passive experience of watching a video and making it, like, active and engaging.
Exactly. And as tech gets better, the possibilities are endless. And you know what else I think we'll see?
What's that?
A resurgence of authenticity and genuine connection.
Really? I thought we were headed toward this world of, like, perfectly curated, AI-generated everything.
There's definitely a trend towards that, but I think people are always going to crave real stories, real experiences, that genuine connection.
So even in a world of deepfakes and virtual influencers, there's still a place for the real deal.
Absolutely. The creators who can tap into that, who can build real relationships with their audiences, those are the ones who are going to win in the long run.
That's actually really encouraging to hear, that human connection still matters, even with all this crazy tech.
It's at the heart of it all, I think.
Well, we've covered a ton today, from the nitty-gritty of creating viral videos to the bigger implications of this whole landscape. It's a lot for our listeners to digest.
It is, but that's what makes it so interesting. It's dynamic, it's challenging, it never stops evolving.
So before we wrap up, any last words of wisdom for our listeners as they venture out into this world of viral content?
I would say pay attention to what's emerging. Don't be afraid to question your assumptions. And always stay curious. This deep dive has given you a taste, but it's just the beginning. The toolkit is yours now. Go out there, explore, create, connect.
That's a great way to put it. Explore, create, connect. So it sounds like the future of viral videos. It's this interesting mix of high tech and that human element we were talking about.
Yeah, it is kind of a paradox, like we've got all this crazy AI and these immersive experiences popping up left and right. But ultimately, it's still that human connection that really makes people want to watch and share.
It's funny. It's like we've come full circle, right? We started this deep dive talking about those early viral hits, those authentic moments that just captured people's attention.
You're right. No matter how fancy the tech gets, I think there's always going to be that need for genuine storytelling, for those real unscripted moments that make us feel something.
It's what makes us human, right? So for our listeners, what's the big takeaway here? What should they keep in mind as they navigate this whole world of viral content in 2025?
I think the big thing is that you have the power. Whether you're making the videos or just watching them, you can shape this landscape just by being aware of the trends we talked about, questioning what you see, and staying curious.
This deep dive has been a wild ride. We've gone from the nuts and bolts of how to make a video go viral all the way to the ethical stuff and what might be coming next. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is, but it's exciting too, right? It's constantly changing. There's always something new to learn.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is, you don't have to be an expert to get involved. You can start experimenting, creating, connecting with people right now.
Exactly. The tools are out there. The audience is waiting. So go out there and see what you can do. Just remember, all this viral power, it comes with responsibility. Use it wisely.
That's a great point to end on. So that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time with a whole new topic to explore.